What's up guys, it's James from Lucrative MMA. I'm back to drop some more knowledge on you, and today I'm going to be dropping the knowledge you have probably all been waiting for, my weekly free bet video. So for those of you who do not know, every single week I come on my YouTube channel and I do a free bet video where I give you guys one free bet for the upcoming UFC card. So this week we have the last UFC card of the whole year. I am looking forward to the break because it's a lot of work that I do throughout the week, tape studying these fights, watching interviews, placing bets, all of that stuff. So I am looking forward to the break, but I'm pretty sure that like after a week, I'll probably be clucking for some more fights. But I'm hoping to end the year on a bang. At the moment, as I speak, as I make this video, me and my members are up 61.51 units on the year. So it's a solid 2020. I'm super happy. I'm super proud of that number. I've made a lot of money myself. My members have made a lot of money. We keep climbing that bankroll up, and yeah, I'm just really happy. But it doesn't mean I'm resting on my laurels. I've done probably more tape study for this event than I have for the last few events, and it's probably up there with the most tape study I've ever done for any event all year. That is because we did have originally 17 or 16 fights scheduled, but also just because I liked a lot of spots on this card and I just really wanted to end the year on a bang. I have high hopes of ending the year at plus 70 units, but it's going to be a tough task. That means I need to win 8.5 units this weekend. But look, I'm going to get into it now. It's going to be the free bet video. So we're actually undefeated on the free bet video so far. Kind of. We did get a push on last week's free bet on one half of the parlay. So I'll just recap. So that I've only been doing this free bet video for 3 weeks, right? The first week we had the Sumu Daji under 2.5 rounds at minus 175. That cashed in about 30 seconds. So that was great. That was a good start to the free bet series. Then the next week we had Cody Durden against Jimmy Flick at plus 140. Now that fight was cancelled, so there was no free bet video that took place that week. But I did a breakdown on the Marvin Vettori versus Jack Hermansson fight where I recommended a bet on Marvin Vettori. So Marvin Vettori won there, so I did actually put out a winning bet on my YouTube channel. So that was 2 weeks in a row that we profited. And then the third week was last week, and I did a parlay with Cyril Gann and Davison Figueiredo. Now, Cyril Gann won with ease. Davison Figueiredo, we know what happened there. It was a push. So if you did bet that, you still did profit. Obviously, it wasn't as much as you would have profited with the Figueiredo win, but we basically still got a win as a Cyril Gann straight bet, which wasn't too much because he was minus 400 favorite, but it's still profit. Profit is profit at the end of the day, and we didn't lose our money. We actually earned some money, although it wasn't a huge amount. So we've actually profited on every single week. We're batting at 100% right now. It's only been 3 weeks, so it's early days, but I'm hoping to close the year strong, and I'll get into the 4th week of the free bet video now. So the fight we're going to be betting on is the Marlon Vera versus Jose Aldo fight. Now, I'm just going to tell you the free bet right now in case you didn't want to watch the whole video, but I do suggest you watch the whole video because it will give an insight to you about my process, why I bet on this, why I made a bet on this, and how much I'm betting myself. And I'll just break down exactly the bet. But I understand some of you guys don't want to watch the whole video. Sometimes I can ramble for a while and the video might go on for 15-20 minutes. So the bet we're going to be doing is the Marlon Vera and Jose Aldo fight to go to decision at minus 175. And we're going to be doing a hedge as well with Marlon Vera to win in round 3 at plus 1800, that bet is. We're only going to be going light on the round 3 prop, of course. And if you don't know what a hedge is, then just wait to the end of the video. I will tell you exactly how much units I'm putting on it myself, how I mathematically break down my hedge and stuff. But again, if you just wanted the free bet, it's Marlon Vera and Jose Aldo to go to decision, and then a little hedge on Marlon Vera to win in round 3. So let me get into it. So this is a fucking banger of a fight, man. I'm super looking forward to this fight. Probably one of the best fights on the card. We do have a lot of bangers. We have Moraes versus Rob Font. I can't wait for that one. Obviously, the main event we have is a solid main event. Stephen Thompson versus Jeff Neal. But Jose Aldo and Marlon Vera could be my number 1 favorite fight on this card. It's definitely up there if not. So yeah, I'm going to go fight goes to decision here. And it's a bit of a scary one to bet fight goes to decision because both guys are bangers. Both guys are forward pressure fighters. They bring the fight and they they're finishers at the end of the day. You know, they're solid strikers. Vera and Aldo also have solid ground games. And it's going to be a banger of a fight. It's going to be a back and forth fight. Both fighters going to be landing clean, huge shots. So it is a little bit scary in my mind to play the -175 on a fight goes to decision. But at the end of the day, styles make fights. And the reason I'm playing this is because both fighters are tough as nails. You know, both fighters are very hard to finish. And you might be thinking, yo, James, Aldo just got finished brutally in his last fight. And he's been finished a few times, right? Now, it's true. That is true, okay? But life isn't black and white, you know? There's a lot of grey areas. And you have to break down how Aldo got stopped in these fights that he's been getting stopped in recently. And it's not an overwhelming amount, but it's a couple of times he's been stopped now, right? So let's just go back to his last fight against Petr Yan. Probably one of the best fights in 2020, in my opinion. It was a fucking back and forth war. Petr Yan was, in my opinion, always one step ahead of Aldo in that fight. But Aldo he took rounds off him. He may have won 2 or 3 rounds. And he just really, he showed a lot of people that he's not done in this game, in my opinion. Now, Aldo got beat in the fight, got beat in the 5th round. He looked gassed towards the end of the 4th round, but he got stopped in the 5th round, right? So it took 5 rounds for Petr Yan, who is the bantamweight king, the bantamweight champion, to stop Aldo. So I wouldn't look too much into that fight and say, oh, Aldo's chin has gone or Aldo's durability has waned. He went 5 rounds with the number 1 fighter in a division and only lost in the 5th round. I will say there's a little caveat because he got hurt bad to the body in the 1st round when Yan was on top of him in his guard and he hit him to the body, and he looked like he could have got stopped there, but he recovered fairly quickly. In a couple of seconds he was back to pushing Yan off out of his guard. So I won't take too much away from him. That is a little bit of a cause to concern. Maybe Aldo is starting to go a bit weak to the body. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, Petr Yan has got solid hands. And, you know, he was on top of him. And it's probably just one of them shots that caught Aldo in the perfect place. And at the end of the day, he didn't stop him, right? I know the whistle did go for the 1st round. But as I said, he did look like he was recovering from that body shot. So he got stopped in the 5th round by Petr Yan. And the last fight he got stopped before that, I believe it was against Max Holloway, right? He got stopped in the 3rd round around the same time in the 3rd round twice. But look, first of all, against Max Holloway, he's probably considered, in my opinion, as the best featherweight of all time. You can't really class Conor. I know he beat Aldo and Max, who are probably number 1 and 2 featherweights, but you can't really class Conor just because he didn't stay around for too long. You know, he won the belt and left. Max Holloway beat Aldo twice when Aldo was obviously slightly out of his prime, but not super out of his prime. And, you know, Max Holloway reigned over that division. So Aldo got stopped in the 3rd round, right at the end of that 3rd round, 4 minutes into that 3rd round, twice against the best featherweight of all time. So his last fight, he gets stopped by the bantamweight king, right? The bantamweight champion in the 5th round. And then the 2 stoppages losses that he had before that were a couple years before that, 3 years before he fought Yan. And he's had fights in between. And it was against Max Holloway, the number 1 featherweight of all time. You know, and Max Holloway has the style to beat Aldo because he's just going to keep coming forward, keep pressuring, that solid boxing style. He's got a chin probably better than Nate Diaz, that crazy Hawaiian chin, so you're not going to be able to put him away. You won't deter him either. So that's probably like one of the worst matchups for Aldo, in my opinion. And before that, he got stopped by Conor McGregor. You can't say anything about that stoppage because, you know, it was in 13 seconds. And other than that, I mean, you know, other than that, I think that's his only stoppages in his whole career. I'm just looking for his record now. Yeah, he's not been stopped other than that. You know, 2 against Max Holloway and 1 against Petr Yan. So you need to relax if you're saying his durability has waned. You know, he went to a decision with Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski is the current featherweight champion who beat Max Holloway, the featherweight king. Volkanovski not known for his finishing, but he hits hard. You know, I know a lot of that fight was contested in a clinch, but at the end of the day, I have to say pump your brakes on Aldo's durability completely shot right now, you know. I know a lot of people won't be saying that, but I have heard quite a bit of talks about, you know, Aldo's durability is going, and obviously it is going, you know. It's not going to be as solid as it was 4 or 5 years ago because he's not in his prime anymore, but I think Aldo's durability is solid, especially at bantamweight, which this fight is contested at. His durability is not going to be in question, not as much as it would be in featherweight, fighting them bigger guys like Max Holloway or Conor McGregor anyway. And obviously, styles make fights. And Marlon Vera, even though he is a finisher, he's not this brutal pressure. He's a pressure fighter, but he's not this brutal one-punch knockout artist. I mean, you don't get that a lot of bantamweight anyway, but he's not this brutal. Like, you don't see him consistently dropping people, you know, like Peter Yan, for example. So, yeah, I do think that Aldo is still a very hard fighter to stop. And at the end of the day, he's only been stopped by them top fighters, and also in them fights, he only got stopped late. It's not like he's getting blown away by them top fighters, except for the McGregor fight, which was a one-off. It was an anomaly. So, look, Aldo is a high-level striker, right? Even though he got stopped in them fights, he got stopped by high-level strikers. He's a higher-level striker than Marlon Vera, okay? No matter what you say, he is a better striker than Marlon Vera. So I don't think he's going to be getting caught with the shots that he was caught in the Holloway and the Yan fight, unless maybe in round 3 Vera starts to tire him out, and then his defense starts to come down a little bit. His defense is a lot weaker than it was in the first and second round, and then maybe Vera can kind of like outlast Jose Aldo and start catching him that way, as opposed to just catching him strike for strike, technique for technique. So look, that's the Aldo side. That's why I believe that Aldo won't get stopped. So now the only other person to get stopped, to not get stopped, if we want this bet to land, is Marlon Vera. So I'll go into Vera for a little while. Now Vera, he's on hot streak right now. You know, a lot of people said he beat Yadong Song. So I mean, you can say he's on a 6-7 fight win streak. Obviously, he lost that fight, so he's not. He's only on a 1 fight win streak. But you know, he's been turned up. He's been getting progressively better throughout his career, similar to how Charles Oliveira has been doing in his last 7 or 8 fights. You can see the growth. You can see the growth of Marlon Chito Vera. He's one of my favorite fighters. He always comes to bang. He's a finisher, as I said. He got a solid finish over Sean O'Malley last fight out. But even though he's a finisher, when he fights these upper echelon guys, or not even upper echelon, but when he takes that step up to the top of the division, near the top of the division, he doesn't finish these guys. You can't class O'Malley as a step up. I know a lot of people are high on O'Malley. I was high on O'Malley. I still am high on O'Malley. And at the end of the day, if you break that down, I know you're going to say, look, Chito caused the stoppage with his leg kick. And I agree. But at the end of the day, no matter what you say, it was a weird stoppage. It wasn't like a knockdown. It wasn't, you know, Sean O'Malley succumbed to just like brutal punishment. His leg did go. He did the same injury against Andrei Sukumtov. His leg did go. And then obviously Chito done really well to land a huge elbow. But Sean O'Malley, probably his head wasn't all there at that point. His head was probably focusing on his leg. And he's like, fuck, my leg's gone again. Taking nothing away from Chito. But we have to look at it as it is. We have to look at it as it is. We can't lie and say Chito just went out there and just destroyed O'Malley and like showed us that O'Malley's got a weak chin or destroyed O'Malley's chin. You have to look at it as it is, all right? It was a strange stoppage, okay? So he is a finisher, but his finishes don't come against the upper echelon of guys, okay? When he comes up against the upper echelon of guys, Marlon Vera, he goes to decision, and he loses the decision most of the time. I'm going to go through his record right now for you. His last fight was Sean O'Malley. I explained that. Fight before that was against Yadong Song. He didn't stop Yadong Song. He went to decision with Yadong Song. He lost the decision against Yadong Song. It was a unanimous decision as well. A lot of people said he won that fight. For me, it was super close. I could have seen it gone either way. But I do understand people saying that Chito should have won the fight. At the end of the day, he didn't stop him, you know. Yadong Song does have a solid chin in my opinion, but look, he didn't stop him at the end of the day, okay? And that was a step up for him, because before that he fought Andre Ewell. You know, before that it was Nohelin Hernandez. I believe that Yadong Song is a step up from these guys. You know, but he did stop Ewell, he did stop Hernandez, he did stop Frankie Saenz before that. He did stop Guido Canetti before that. He did stop Wulaji Buran before that. But the thing is that these fighters are, they're not at that higher level, you know. When he goes up against the higher level, he doesn't stop him. So before the Buran fight, he fought Douglas Andrade. He's a solid fighter, Andrade. pressure fighter, a bit of a wild guy. He lost. He went to decision with him and he lost. Fight before that against John Lineker, and this was in 2017. So John Lineker, another one near the top of the division, upper echelon of the division at least, and he went to decision with him and he lost the decision with him. So before that, Brian Kelleher, finished Brad Pickett. But you understand what I'm saying? When he takes this step up, he doesn't finish anyone. He hasn't finished anyone in his career ever on the upper echelon of the division, in my opinion. Unless you're a super Sean O'Malley fanboy, then you're not going to class anyone on his record that he's finished at the upper echelon of his division. Every time he's took a step up, he's went to decision, and he's actually lost by decision. So I don't think he's going to be able to stop Aldo here, but I am a little bit worried about the pressure. Look, at the end of the day, Cheeto's got a lot better. So I just read out you his record, right? But he's got better since them losses, since them decision fights. So I don't want to say that he can't stop people at that upper echelon of the division, because I don't think he's the same fighter that was losing decisions to them people who were at the upper echelon of the division, right? He has evolved, like Oliveira, like I said, he's evolved. So he definitely can, put it on these guys at the upper echelon of the division. And I believe he can get some stoppages up there, probably. Depends who he's fighting against. Styles make fights, as always. But I don't see him stopping Jose Aldo here. The only caveat to that is, if he does stop Aldo, I believe it's going to be late finish in the third round, when possibly, just possibly, Aldo start to succumb to that pressure of Marlon Vera. I believe it's highly probable that Aldo wins round 1 and Vera wins round 3 here. So I'm happy enough to play Marlon Vera at round 3 for a small amount, and I'll tell you exactly how much amount soon, for a small amount at plus 1800, just to cover myself, just in case, Marlon does get that late finish. Because although very unlikely, I can see it, and I'm more than happy to lay out a little bit of my bankroll, very tiny amount, to win back loads if it does happen, to cover myself on the fight does go to decision bet. Now, I don't usually do hedges because I do hedges probably more than the common person, more than other bettors, but they are dangerous because, if you hedge, so for those of you who don't know what a hedge is, it's basically just, you put one bet on, but then you bet another scenario in the same fight to cover that bet. Just like we're doing here. So we're having a bet on Marlon Vera and Jose Aldo to go to decision. But because I can see Vera possibly getting that third round stoppage, just to cover my bet and to win me back my stake and more, if Vera does stop in round 3, I'm also going to bet that. So it's actually like opposing bets. So they can't both win. But if one doesn't win and the other wins, I kind of save myself. So that's basically what a hedge is, right? And as I was saying, I don't like doing hedges too often, just because it's dangerous. Because, for example, if Jose Aldo gets the stoppage in round 3, then we've lost both our bets. But as I said, I'm putting a very tiny amount on Marlon Vera in round 3, and the only reason I'm doing the hedge is because I'm getting a plus 1800 on it, so I don't have to put a lot of money on to get a lot back and to cover my stake on the other bet, which is the fight goes to decision. So I hope you understand that. So look, at the end of the day, we are, hopefully the fight goes to decision. That's what we're backing, but we're also going to do Marlon Vera round 3. So I'll just tell you exactly how much I'm putting on. When you're doing hedges, you have to work it out mathematically, because you want to know how much you're going to earn if each bet comes back. So you can put the right amount of unit size on for your hedge to work correctly, right? So for me personally, I'm going to put 3.5 units on the Vera and Aldo fight goes to decision at minus 175. So I will win back 2 units, basically. If that fight goes to decision, I will win back 2 units, right? So I'm risking 3.5 to win 2. Now, with Vera in round 3, that's plus 1800. So I'm putting on 0.25 units on that bet. And if it wins, I actually win 4.5 units. So if Vera wins in round 3, I'm going to profit roughly 1.25 units on this bet. With all the stakes, out of this whole fight, I'll profit 1.25 units. And if Vera and Aldo, if the fight does go to decision, I am going to profit 1.75 units. So I am hoping the fight does go to decision, but if Vera wins in round 3, I still actually profit from this fight. Now, if Aldo gets the stoppage, then I've lost. So basically, the only way I can lose this fight is if Aldo gets the stoppage, or if Marlon Vera gets the stoppage in rounds 1 or 2. So I think that's a pretty solid spot there. I don't see Aldo getting the stoppage, and I can't remember if I went into this too much, but I don't see Aldo getting the stoppage because Marlon Vera is tough as fuck. He has never been stopped in his whole career, and he's fought some solid fighters. He's got a record of 18, 6, and 1. So that means he has fought 25 fights and he has never been stopped. And I've never really seen him hurt that much either. So I don't think Jose Aldo is going to stop him. It's only a 3-round fight. He's not going to have too much time to stop him. And I do think that it's going to be a back and forth fight in the second half of the fight. So I feel like Vera is going to pick up the pace, and his confidence is going to come up a lot more, which will maybe deter Jose Aldo in that second and third round a little bit. And so he's less likely to get stopped, because I don't think it's going to be one-way traffic from Jose Aldo, for example. I've already told you the reasons I don't think Jose Aldo is going to get stopped, at least not until the third round anyway. So, in my opinion, it's a pretty solid spot we've got here, guys, because basically, as I said, the only way we lose this fight is if Aldo gets the stoppage, which I don't see happening, or if Vera wins in round 1 or round 2. So, yeah, I'm happy to play that. That's the free bet video for today, guys. I'm hoping that we can close the fight year out strong. As I said, we've got 3 weeks in a row of profit. So if this makes 4 weeks in a row, then I'm going to be rubbing my hands. And I just like to say that this is obviously only one bet I'm giving you guys, right? I don't make one bet every week. I make multiple bets. I've already got 6 bets locked in for this UFC card. I'm eyeing up another 4 or 5. So I do make quite a few bets. I make roughly probably about 5 to 10 bets on average each UFC card, right? So I'm just giving you guys a completely random one. It's not my most confident bet. It's not the best odds bet. It's nothing like that. It's literally just a random one. I've made a couple of bets, and I put my hand up and down the paper, and whatever I land on, I just make a YouTube video about it. So if you do want all of my bets, and if you want to earn money with me properly rather than just one free bet, then just go to the links below. I've got a link to my social media where you can check me out, and I also have a link to my website. You can check all my results there. I'm third-party tracked on betmma.tips, so I cannot fake my record. Yeah, guys, if you want to join me, join up now. I might be doing a price review at the end of the year, so I may change the price for the memberships. But if you do get in before this card or before the end of the year, then you will get the current price of what I offer for the membership. So that's it, guys. That's the end of the free bet video. I may be doing a breakdown video of a fight for this upcoming UFC card. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time yet. I still have a couple of fights to tape. So if I do, I will put that on YouTube. But if not, I will catch you possibly next week. I'll put out a review video, and I hope we can earn some money. So that's it for me, guys. Bet smart, and I will see you in the next video.